Now then, and welcome back to another episode of Reborn on the NemGo server. Welcome back. How you doing? I've been very busy in real life and left this all running and setting up for a long time, almost a week. That's why there's few and far between in these episodes, because I spend so much time doing in real life stuff these days. You're lucky I get you any videos whatsoever, really. One of the things I've added in, we basically had all this set up previously, didn't we? We had all this set up. We set this up in the last episode. That's now got a spark on it, and it's got a spark there. That's a spark that pulls the mana from there when it needs it, excellently. I'm going to probably put another spark on there that pulls across to that as well, hopefully, maybe. But I would like to make some of the special sparks. So we set up a way of opening up the portal, the Elfham portal. And I've since just been decorating it slightly. I've repositioned it slightly. I just keep seeing a spider down there in the dark. I don't know why those flare lanterns aren't lighting them up properly down there. It's alright, I'm always up here, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I've put one of every flower type in here. I got a little parrot who came along from the mob farm that I met when I was exploring a long time ago. And just generally made the place look a bit tidy. Put some mossy bricks down here. Put some covers in here. Little pixel, 1 pixel width, chisel and bits covers of one of the living wood type bits. Yeah. And put that around here as well. This is still the main block, but I've just put one little trim around the outside. That allowed me to take a piece off this grass and put it in. You can see it's just about 1 pixel out. But when you're looking at it from a distance, from the angles, it's not really noticeable that I've done it to allow that to happen. So that looks good. And yeah, these poles, which are living wood walls, with those on the top, that then aims up to there, that then fires down to there, and we get a nice full pool ready for this to open. So without any further ado, I think I'm supposed to just give it a little whack. Just like that. Hey! World calling. Okay. Oh. And then these had taken a small amount of mana out, a very small amount of mana to turn it on, and then they use a small amount to maintain. So as I've got this kind of like infinite mana system going on here, shouldn't take long to fill it back up and maintain it. And the cool effects can ruin my frame rate. Yeah, it'll be great. It doesn't actually make my frame rate too bad, to be fair. I still feel like I've got a decent frame rate. And from here, I've got the windows into the flowers with the portal. So that whatever I put in this section here, more automation stuff, I've still got that kind of feature wall. I put this identical copy of the setup over this side so that could fire off mana. And there'll probably be something here that can use that mana from the sparks. So all in all, we're getting there. And all of that was designed so that I could get these sparks to work in here, so that all this is automated. I've also added all of the runes on here. So all of the runes are available for crafting now. The problem I still face is that the mana will run out until I've sorted the sparks out. So I'm producing mana, but I'm not putting mana into this particular setup yet. And I need to get that started. So, where do we start with that? Sparks have a simple recipe, and then Sparks have these augments, which require a rune, mana steel, and pixie dust. This one is a different kind of rune, this one is a different kind of rune, this one is a different kind of rune. Very simple crafting though, still. The pixie dust is the thing. We need to put mana pearls into the portal to create pixie dust. So how many mana pearls have I got? I've got 4 at the minute. So that's enough to make a couple of different types of things. Now, I've also got to work on putting stuff into here in order to unlock certain things in my book. So where is my Botania book? Oh, I'll put it down somewhere. I'm sure I put it down somewhere. Or maybe I just dumped it into the system. There's 6 in there, yeah, because I found them all about the place. So when you throw a Botania book into the portal, it normally gives you something special. Can we just chuck it in? And out comes the approved Lexica Botania, the Elven Guard version from the Elves. Greetings, we noticed that our portal was opened via a link from another world. That's rather shocking news indeed. We thank you very much for providing us with a repository of the knowledge from your world, as to keep us up to date to what happened since we left. It's been a while since then. It's good to see it's doing well. After some discussion with the High Council of Elvengard, we have decided to cooperate with you. You see, reading through your Lexica Botania has shown us a good amount of resources from your world that we would be extremely keen to get our hands on, as these are non-existent in our lands. The link you have managed to establish is rather weak. No living beings will be able to go through, as you already know. However, there's a positive side to this. The link strikes the fabric of time of both our worlds in a way that it doesn't keep them in sync. That's the reason why you received your book back so quickly. Well, I was wondering. Thanks. When it comes to mana and other magical energies, we are plenty stocked on them, so worry not about the portal closing on our end. Let's put this in prospect. In order for the advance of, I think it's missing this word. Let's put this in perspective. In order for the advancement of both our civilizations, we vow to accept a given set of resources from your world we lack in ours, in exchange for resources you lack in yours. Oh, thank you. We have taken the liberty of assigning our best scribes to put together a great set of knowledge from our world we're willing to share. You can find it in your lexicon, just as you'd find knowledge from yours. We hope you find it enlightening, and that it encourages you to invest in our materials. Last but not least, do keep in mind that if you decide to send something we have not vouched to trade for, we'll assume it's a gift, and just keep it for ourselves. Just as a forewarning, we look forward to exchanging resources with you. Best regards, the High Council of Elvengard. Yay! So we've got this message now in the Elfomancy section. The portal, which we had before, and now we've got some resources and other bits and pieces. So the resources, it contains stuff we can now get: Dreamwood, Elementium, Pixie Dust, and Dragonstone. Dreamwood is basically living wood pushed through to make Dreamwood. Dreamwood has special things that we can do with it. Then there's Mana Steel that can be turned into Elementium. There's the Mana Pearls, which can turn into Pixie Dust. And Diamonds, which can be turned into Dragonstones. All good fun, and all are going to be needed, so I need to do some kind of automation. You can also turn Nether Quartz into Elven Quartz. And there's a variant of glass called Elf Glass, which put Mana Glass in, get Elf Glass out. What does Elf Glass do? The look is rather light and its patterns are randomised depending on where it is placed. Okay, well I might try that out. I don't remember ever seeing the Elf Glass ever before as a thing. So I get a few pieces of that. There's 2 pieces of Elf Glass. Let's have a look, see what they look like. So this is normal Mana Glass. Very nice, simple blue. This is a slightly green version of. Does it do much different? Does it do it lights up the area a little bit. I've noticed that. That's good. Does it fall back in there? Nope. Come back to me. Thank you. So it's about the same, but it's slightly different colour, which will make for designing things and making things look nice a little bit better. So now I could put like a thing there. Instead of Mana Glass, I can have a little bit of an effect. Not that it really shows up so great, but still, I like the idea at least. Right, I'll mess around with that later. Put those into there and grab all the bits that I've dropped. Okay, so that's that sorted. We can't go through the portal. I always thought that was going to be a thing in Botania when I first thought. Maybe there's going to be a Botania realm, another realm that you can go into through the portal, but no, not something that Vazki decided to do. And then put those in and get my Pixie Dust. Sorted. Got Pixie Dust. So now, what do I do with the Pixie Dust? Well, there was a few more things, flowers and things that I definitely wanted. The main flower that I want to get in today's episode is a Jaded Amaranthius. It's part of the Mystical Flowers range. It required a Rune of Spring and a few other bits and pieces. The Rune of Spring, shift click, required a Rune of Fire and a Rune of Water. The Rune of Fire required some other bits and pieces, yeah, to get the runic altar going. So that's one thing that I want to get done in this episode. But first up, we're going to use these Pixie Dust to make the sparks work a little bit better for me. I seem to be running lower and lower on the raw ingredients. All the ingredients that I went out there and I found, I brought back, turned them into petals, and I've got a few plants left. The petals can make more petals, that's not a problem. I can grow the two tall versions, chop them down, harvest them, make more petals and grow more. So we've done that before, that's no problem. But I would like to have a little supply of the smaller flowers as well, because there are quite a lot of like little recipes, such as these things. These little recipes here, the floating recipes, you need a glimmering flower, which requires a normal mystical flower with some glowstone. So I need the normal mystical flowers. And going and like harvesting the larger flowers in order to get petals is okay, to get petals, but I would rather just have flowers anyway, so I can just turn the flowers straight into petals. That would be great. But then there's all these floating flowers which require a glimmering flower, which I kind of use these things. I've been using them a little bit because of the hoppers, the little hopper hock floating devices, those little floating islands. They look really cool. They save a few blocks of space and they can be placed next to other things, which is very cool. So yeah, we're going to need a few of those. Now, as for these runes that go on sparks, I've not really played around with sparks before, right? But from what I understand, okay, you get the spark, we make a spark. We don't have the things we need to make a spark right now. Let's get some of those bits and pieces. Let's get a few of those because I know I've got some. Let's make another couple of sparks, right? Let's make... okay, I'm running out of pieces of everything in here at the minute. Let's just take that. There we go. This is the problem with running down my resources. I'll take a couple more sparks there and take these 3. So that's 5 sparks I've got then. So, as you can see, I got lots of the runes all crafted and sorted. As far as I know, for these sparks, the Dispersive Spark will take all the mana from the pool it's connected to and send it to other sparks. The Recessive Spark, I'm not sure about that one. The Isolated Spark, I think that just ignores all the other areas around you. So let's control click onto that. See what it does. Seems sparks are a bit more versatile than it was known previously. A variant of augments which can be applied to them to enhance their abilities. It is to note that augments can only be applied to sparks that lie on mana pools. A spark can only have a single augment at a time. Starting off, Dispersive Augment has the spark use up the mana in the pool below to charge any nearby player's mana-containing items. Okay, so any player mana-containing items, which is cool. That means that I get recharged off that. That's awesome, isn't it? The Dominant Spark Augment will have a spark pull any mana from nearby non-augmented sparks pools to its own until it's fully complete. That's cool, okay? So, the Dominant Spark, okay? The Recessive Augment Spark output all the mana in its pool to any nearby non-augmented or dispersive spark pools until it's completely empty, which is good. Isolated Augment will prevent the spark from interacting with any dominant or recessive sparks, but still allow it to interact with blocks that can receive their mana through the spark network. So that Isolated Augment in particular might work nicely in here, where it tries to send to this, which uses the mana, but won't send it to any of the other things around the place. So then the mana spreader will be the normal way of getting mana across to here still. Yeah, I get to see it. I don't think I need those for anything in particular. There might become some use for them in the future. An Isolated Spark might be necessary, but I don't think I'm going to need an Isolated Spark at the minute. The Dominant and Recessive Sparks are probably the more important ones, and they craft fairly simply. So, what do we have here then? Dominant and Recessive. So, let us take the Dispersive. The Dispersive actually recharges me, so I want to take one of those. It's got a water rune in it, And it doesn't use the water rune, so that's a nice thing. And let's go and put that onto a spark on here. Okay, so put a spark there, and then right-click on it. There we go. Alright, so now it will try and fill all of my mana up. So I've got a mana ring there, which is now filled up very quickly. And so every time I pass by, if I need to, it will fill me up. Whenever I come here to manually operate the machinery, as it were, then it will automatically fill up. That's nice. Now, this one in here, if I make... if I get rid of this a second, right? Get rid of that. I don't really need it. Let's get rid of that and that. Let's go with this. If I make a spark there that pushes to other nearby places, then that's going to work nicely this way, isn't it? So that'll be a recessive spark, wouldn't it? Recessive spark, which requires a rune of earth. I happen to have a rune of earth to help craft it. It's fortunate that these runes don't get used up. They just kind of are useful. So the whole automating runes thing, I'm not sure exactly how much use that was. Let's go that there. Okay, so now it will transfer to this spark. This spark will be receiving. That mana pool will fill up. It's now stopped bursting through. It stops on the glass, which means the particle effect won't be seen. But that particle effect, although it won't be seen, it will still actually fill the thing up. So that's still filling that pool up. We can see it just rising now. But the particles get stuck on the glass, which seems to make sense to me as well. Right? And that's now nearly empty. I wonder if it's filling up both at the same time. So it fills up that one. No, it doesn't. So this one is also there. So I would need a dominant spark put on here. Dominant spark there, which would then try and pull from this one. And this one would be receiving from that one. And that one receives from that one as well. That's full now, yeah? Yeah. That one receives from there, and then that tries to fill me up and sort that out. Which is all very good. So then I can put this onto here and close that back up, and I can close that one up as well without having that beam going across between the two, making it look a bit neater. So the other one that we need then is going to be a dominant spark, which requires a rune of fire to make. So we'll have our dominant spark at the end here. This one. We'll have our dominant spark at the end here, so that should then pull from others, shouldn't it? Okay, it's not quite working. It's getting stuck on that timer. Is it actually filling up? Yeah, it is actually filling up. It is actually filling up. The trouble here is that the graphical effect is getting stuck on that surface there. So it's actually beaming from there, which is exactly what we wanted. It's taking it from that spark and beaming it across to this spark and filling this pool up. So now this pool is full. This one is also filling back up because it'll be receiving from over here on that side. I kind of think this works as a little network thing. I think that's how it's going to work. So now this should be trying to beam out. Yeah, that's now beaming out mana to fill this up over here. Yeah, and that one will be being pulled from that one, which will fill that one up from there. I mean, that's pretty much full now, so it'll stop asking, and then that one can catch up. Excellent. Okay, so that's that automation side of things pretty much sorted, isn't it? With the sparks have now automated all that for me, and it's just down to the endo flames to keep it going. Now, I was thinking about putting the sparks on here and sending the sparks over to here, but with these things on top, I can't really put a spark in. So still having these beams is going to be the thing. And it kind of looks cool. I like the way it looks. So I'm pleased that it's there. It's going to stay there. That's fine. I do want to figure out automating this portal, dropping a few things in. But for now, I will do things by hand. And work on the next stage, which is this new flower, which is going to make other new flowers around it. And a way of breaking them down and... yeah, doing things. I need a supply of flowers, so I need a jaded amaranthius. And that is purple, lime, green, redstone root and spring. Purple. Purple, a lime in the coconut. There's a lime, thank you. A lime and a green. Oh, I'm down to the last bit of green. Okay, so I'll do that again. And a mystic root. Mystic root, we'll craft one of those, please. Thank you. And also a spring, which I think I had a spring. I've got everything in here at the minute. Spring. There we go. So I've got a spring. Alright, so apart from the mystical green not being enough, I'm just going to need some bone meal for that. Apart from the mystical green not having enough, that is a decent showing. So I'll just need to... Do I want a recipe for it? I kind of do want to put a recipe in here for it, just so it's automatable in the future. So I'll fix that, and then we'll see how it works. Alright, so we made a jaded amaranthus and sorted it all out so it's all automatable in there. That's all good. Just quickly crafted it, sorted it out. Now it does use a rune of spring, and the rune of spring requires crafting each time, so it uses a rune of spring up in the crafting of. And the rune of spring requires 2 other runes to be built. Luckily, this whole setup can do that, and it made one automatically as soon as I put the jaded amaranthus in there and said, can I have one please? Took a couple of minutes. Well, I don't suppose it even took a minute, to be fair. Yeah, maybe less than a minute in total to craft one. But I've got one, and that's that bit sorted. The next few things that we need are to get the drum that's going to break the flowers. Right? That sounds a bit odd, doesn't it? There are 3 drums. Drums of the canopy, I think they break the leaves and get saplings. Drum of gathering, I think that shears sheep and does animals and gathers the produce of animals. But just the basic drum of the wild is the one that breaks vegetation around, and then you've got to collect it somehow. Right? That's the thing, collecting it somehow. So I've got to get one of my hopper hocks going. This requires a horn of the wild. And some leather and some living wood, not too bad. The horn of the wild, you can actually blow the horn of the wild and it will break grass and vegetation around you, I believe, which is pretty cool. That just needs a pasture seed. I don't know if I've gone. Yeah, I have. So the pasture seed there, and then we can make the horn of the wild like that. Drum of the wild, should say, like that. So we've got a drum of the wild and a jaded amaranthus. That's basically the key ingredients. Then we need to get some redstone. And turn one of these mana spreaders into a mana pulse by just adding redstone to it, right? Because this will break all of the vegetation around it with a pulse of mana. So I need a pulse mana spreader to do that, and I also am going to need an hourglass or some kind of redstone clock, but as we're using Botania and hourglasses seems to be working just fine, then that will trigger the mana pulse to send to that and so on. That also means that I'm going to need a new mana pool, because I don't want this set up in the same like factory area, because this is almost pure Botania, this stuff. The bit that I'm doing here is almost pure Botania. Pure Botania. So we'll have some sparks move into that. I could do with a spark that pulls as well. No, spark. Spark. Yeah, spark that pulls from one to the other. So if we have a dispersive spark, let's go with that. Have a dispersive spark and another mana spreader that goes into the pool. I think I'm about sorted. So apart from getting a load of dirt, right, for the first test run, let's get a load of that. A stack should be more than enough, but I'll take some more just in case. You never know. So I was thinking when I was first starting that this would kind of be where the auto-crafting was. And this kind of resource gathering isn't auto-crafting with AE. So if this is all applied energistics, and almost everything is applied energistics apart from these kind of like ender chest things, which technically could be applied energistics if I wanted to pump charcoal into the hopper from the AE system, that wouldn't be too difficult to do. Everything else has kind of got an AE system connected, and that's why it's up here. So down here, I can build kind of like normal Botania farms that produce items that don't need the AE system to pump things around. So in this case, the Jaded Amaranthius will make items appear from wherever. For free, basically. It doesn't need an AE system at all. The storage side of things, well, I think I'll probably have some kind of ender chest, or maybe the AE system can have a hopper hock attached to an interface, the same as most of the other parts of the farm, to gather up all the things that drop, and maybe even sort them. So this is what I've finally come up with idea-wise. I did a little bit of experimenting. I've now raised it up a couple of stairs just so I can get my head underneath it if I need to come underneath it to do any bits and pieces, particularly for the wiring of the AE system into these chests that the hopper hocks are at. So I've got a chest on this bar corner with a hopper hock above that gathers all of this, including all the charcoal apparently. It gathers all that from around there. I might have to say don't gather charcoal because it'll try and pull it from the other things over there, won't it? And then this one on this side clearly is trying to do the same thing, yeah. And I'll need to grab those and put it onto an interface, an AE interface, and be able to do it that way. The mana is now moving around, so we've got mana coming from the pool above by the portal into here. We've got a spark that is recessive or dominant. No. Yeah, the one that fires it off to everybody else. That's it. The one that doesn't want it. And that comes over to these, and I put diluted pools in because I didn't really need a lot of mana in this place. I didn't really need a lot of mana here. And because there was so much mana in one pool, I didn't really need a lot of mana in the other pool, so I ended up putting both as diluted pools. Putting the sparks on them, so that that pool down there will send via spark to these two pools and keep these diluted pools fairly well filled. Yeah. It looks in keeping with these two pools here. We go down in those two pools there as well with sparks on. Very good. I was thinking of putting a little wooden rail across the line here so we can go down into the farm area. And then this is where the farm's going to be. So, I've had it running a little bit. And I've done all the technical side of things, making sure everything's working. The pulse spreader here just has a hovering hourglass underneath it, sending it a pulse every 32 sand. I figured that would be about right. 32 sand, it wouldn't be too strenuous. And that fires the drum every 32 sand. Any time today. Thought it was about to do it. I thought I'd just time that right. There we go. Bing. Boom. Right, and then the Jaded Amaranthius goes right in the middle. 4 blocks away from anything. So it's a 9x9 area. In the middle of a 9x9, but the drum is far enough away that he's not going to break these ones down that I'm using for decoration. And, of course, it won't break any of the other ones that might be in any of these places, which is also pretty handy and a good idea. But now the Jaded Amaranthius will spawn in flowers every 32 sand or 32 seconds or whatever it might be. Boom. There'll be a pop. It doesn't always pop everything. It's not supposed to. It has a certain number it's allowed to pop. I'm going to have to invest in some more hopper hocks on it. It has a certain number it's allowed to pop. So it doesn't pop everything. In order to allow it to regrow a few more or something like that. I can't remember the rulings behind it, but the drum doesn't pop everything everywhere. It's not like a bucket of water would knock everything over. It just does a certain amount, which is pretty much all of them, look. Fairly decent amount. And then the hopper hocks will pick them all back up and storm away or send them into the AE system. What's that? I'm hearing a zombie. Hey, little zombie, how you doing? Come over here. Come over here. And die. Die. Thank you. I've really got to sort that little bit of lighting out there over there. I can't understand why every other part of everything of those lanterns seems to be working, except for this area around here. I've destroyed it and put it back a few times as well. Everything else doesn't need anything because it's got lanterns in the right places. I just don't think those lanterns worked the first time I did them, and it refuses to make it work. But anyway, that is all we've got time for in today's episode, folks. So that will give me quite a health. Oh, is that sucking in more? It is, isn't it? It's taking loads of charcoal. I'm gonna have to stop it by putting a thing on saying no charcoal. But yeah, that is it for today's episode, folks. Thank you all so very, very much for watching today's episode. I have enjoyed messing around with the Jaded Amaranthius. Like I say, I've been very busy in real life. You're getting a few Minecraft videos from me and some other easy recorded stuff, pre-recorded stuff. We do some live streaming on Saturday nights, and I get 3 or 4 hours worth of Borderlands 2 footage recorded very quickly. And then my friend Dean came around, didn't he? And I did some Magic the Gathering pack openings and stuff, and that's fairly quick and easy to manage to make a few videos. I apologise if you want more Minecraft, but it is just the way it is, I'm afraid. When I get into something, Minecraft again, I will probably do a ton more. Right now, I'm happy just steadily building up an Applied Energistics and Botania area around here. And I'll do the same with the Blood Magic and the Thorncraft. And the Astral Sorcery, if that's possible as well. Very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. I will see you for some more. Goodbye.